Namaskar. Welcome to another episode of Beyond Headlines with Akhilesh, Bhargava and me, Sujit Nair. Akhilesh, once in a while, I'd like to stick my neck out and say things which I will later on regret. So today I intend to make one of those statements.
So I will not make you regret it.
I intend to make one of those statements. Right from independence, possibly before it, till date, most of our large corporates have been the beneficiary of crony capitalism. Now let me tell you what crony capital means for a lot of us who knows and a lot of us who don't know. Crony capital is where the state benefits or the state helps companies to grow. It is not the state, I correct myself. It is where a political party, possibly the ruling party, helps a company to grow. Of course, in return, in lieu of a favor back. I am saying that every company in this country, every big corporate in this country, from independence to now, has been helped by some political party, some government or another to grow. Am I wrong? Will I get sued? Even if I will, what?
I'll give you more material to get sued.
Please.
Why are we talking from independence? Prior to independence, the Parsis were the ruling lords of India. That was British crony capitalism that they benefited from.
Correct.
So it is always the person in power who chooses to pick a favorite and give the benefits. From independence, the primary way in which the Congress did was giving licenses. So if you are a builder, you were given a license to manufacture a car and nobody else got it. So we had an ambassador and we had a Premier Padmini. If you were a Bajaj, you got a license to manufacture scooters. So we had the Chetak and a Lambretta and nobody else had it. So the Congress started with the licensing bit. It was crony capitalism, ensuring that competition was restricted. And even if you had to wait 10 years for a Bajaj Chetak, you were forced to wait. They made obscene profits. These corporates got built up. That is the story of the Tatas also. That is the story of the Birlas also. That is the story of any large corporate house. In recent memory, the Ambanis took on.
And
the
now
Congress party. So it is the Congress party that started this era. To add to its favors of crony capitalism, then they took over the banks in nationalization. So I would give you a license and I would also give you money to set up the factory. To make it even more restricted, they started ensuring that if you want to set up a plant, it could only be of a capacity they define and nobody else could get into. So, Sudhi, there have been umpteen ways in which crony capitalism went on. To me, the defining moment was when Swaraj Paul tried to take over escorts. He was the majority shareholder. The Nandas had some 15% shareholding in the company and they played the final card. The Congress bigwigs got into picture and Mr. Swaraj Paul was asked to back off. That was crony capitalism. So I give you a license, I give you money, I give you installed capacities and I also protect you. I don't let a predator or a corporate competitor take you over. Absolute across the board crony capitalism.
Crony capitalism. So, Akhilesh, I'm going to go a step further. Now I'm getting bolder. You see, what I want to thus say that crony capitalism is a part and parcel of India, of Indian politics, Indian corporate and Indian social life. We are used to it also, in a way. Nobody questioned India when everything in India was Tatas, right from the airline to the electricity nobody questions. Okay, nobody is questioning today when most of it, now of course it has become Adani Energy, but everything was Reliance, right from the metro to the electricity to the water supply, whatever, everything is Reliance. Nobody is questioning it. Possibly, we talk a lot about crony capitalism. It sounds like a good word to a lot of politicians and to a lot of but we have to understand we've taken it for granted. Today, media belongs to Reliance, metro belongs to Reliance, electricity belongs to Reliance, telephone belongs to Reliance,
refinery belongs
to Reliance. A lot of big leaders also belongs to Reliance. I don't want to get into that. But the point that I'm trying to make is, we are accepting it.
But
okay.
But then let's look at it globally, Sujit. Japan, whether it's a Sumitomo or a Mitsubishi or a Toyota or a Honda, they all came up with state support. You take South Korea, they used to call Samsung, the leading chaebol there, as South Korea was called Samsung Korea. It was that much given a state support.
So was Hyundai.
So was Hyundai to a certain extent.
Correct.
Britain had its own favorites. So every country, for whatever reason, maybe that was the only way they were able to upsurge the progress, development, and industrialization of the country. But after a point, it became major monopolies, major cartels, and a case of huge inequality.
So what are you saying thus, Akhilesh? Are you saying that crony capitalism therefore is not a bad word?
Well, I'm not defending crony capitalism.
No, I'm saying if it's all over the world, which you are right, it's all over the world. So if that's the case, then why are we shying away from crony capitalism? So be it, yeah, that's it. This is what it is. This is reality.
The reason it becomes a matter of criticism is because it starts encroaching on the rights of the smaller entrepreneurs. Inequality shoots up. They gather away all the wealth of the country. So that is where it then comes in. Well, if we were Russia or China, you had no right to protest and even talk about this. But when it comes to a democracy like India, and we are vigilant of these kind of things happening, it becomes a point to talk about.
That was my next question. My next question is the difference that I see between what's happening in South Korea, what happens in Japan, or what happens in Britain, or any other country for that matter of fact. So I am sure in America. Okay, what is the difference possibly that's happening in India is in India, it's eating into small entrepreneur. See, the same support or even 100th of the support does not go to a small entrepreneur. Rates happen on a small entrepreneur. Taxes are for small entrepreneurs. Departments are for small entrepreneurs. Enforcement, small entrepreneurs. See, they are not only given government support, but they are given government protection. So, when crony capitalism is doubled up with government protection and actually protection from all laws, that's when the problem starts.
I'll give you another point on this, Sujit. You rightly pointed out the huge upsurge in inequality. But there's another point to ponder over. South Korea had these chaebols who control, 5 of them. Because of the kind of monopoly that got created, the Samsung the Samsung managing director was jailed for a few years on charges of corruption. And it was only a major political favoritism that he was released a couple of months ago. So there has also been a correction to a certain extent. The president of South Korea, who was at the receiving end of bribes from these chaebols, she is still in jail. So some correction did set in. We are not seeing this in India.
And precisely that is why exactly that's what I was saying. If the laws are crony capitalism helping a person to get businesses in locally to helping the person get businesses from other countries, ठीक है, to that extent, like you rightly said, it's happening across the globe. So therefore, happening in India, big deal, चलता है, it's okay. But let's face it. Wake up and smell the coffee. That's what it is. Now, the problem here is when you protect them and you help them to go against the law of the country. That's where the problem starts. And that's exactly what we should be scared of. We should be worried about.
One of the manifestations of crony capitalism in India in recent times has been the huge NPAs. It is because a minister picked up the phone and told the bank chairman, "Isko itna paisa dene ka hai," that loans were given.
Correct.
And money was lost.
Correct.
How did Bhushan Steel get a 75,000 crores?
Absolutely.
How did an Alok Industries get 30,000 crores? They were calls made.
Since I'm in the trip of putting my head neck on the block, let me say, you're talking about the call that Chidambaram made for
Vijay
Mallya and the call that Vijay Mallya expected Arun Jaitley to make for him. So the loan was got by Vijay, finance minister, and the loan was supposed to be settled by
that is crony capitalism.
Absolutely. Rafael deal, if it is what it is crony capitalism. Absolutely. And this has been, Woffers was crony capitalism. And I'm sure crony capitalism existed every time. So somewhere down the line, I think, Akhilesh, you know what? We have this huge charade about our morals, as Indians.
Hypocrisy.
Absolute hypocrisy to the highest level. Where we say, crony capitalism is a word used. There are, in fact, I attended a lecture where the entire subject was crony capitalism.
I'll add to your statements. We have a union ministry of MSME, medium and small enterprises.
Correct.
There is no specific ministry for the large enterprise because every ministry is meant for the large enterprise. And they have a great time.
Every ministry, every minister, possibly all levels is meant for the larger enterprise. The point that I'm trying to make, Akhilesh, is the reality of this fact and the conclusion of our discussion is crony capitalism is there to stay, and it will remain. It is there all over the world.
It's gone up in recent times.
Absolutely. But when crony capitalist is also protected legally and helped to go against the law, to break the law, especially financial frauds, that's when the lid goes off.
That's when you cross the Lakshman Rekha.
That's when you cross the Lakshman Rekha, and that's the problem. And that's where the problem starts. And that's what we are talking about, Akhilesh. And till such time that happens, common man loses. Common people lose money. We spoke about mutual funds in a few episodes back. You know how mutual funds are no longer safe. And that's possibly because of these kind of crony capitalism that exist in this country.
So to add to what you're saying, I find this to be extremely interesting. The Congress accuses Mr. Modi of crony capitalism because in the Rafale deal, Anil Ambani was given the offset orders of 30,000 crores. And how do they counter it? In your regime, you gave him orders worth 1 lakh crores. So, well, we are both crony capitalists, but you are a bigger crony capitalist than what we are.
Absolutely.
It is not denied that this is crony capitalism.
And उनके टाइम पे उन्होंने उतना किया, हमारे टाइम पे हम इतना करेंगे. And they say it with absolute conviction. And this is both ways. This is both ways. I'm sure I've heard a lot of congressmen saying it after Atal Bihari Vajpayee government. कि उनके टाइम पे उन्होंने ऐसा किया था. तो there was a sorry, this is going to take one more minute. I was hearing a Pakistani interview. And believe me, this is I think a Nawaz Sharif guy and a Pervez Musharraf guy, both in a debate. And, they were actually saying, अरे भाई तुम्हारे टाइम पे क्या तो हम इतना तो बनता है भाई हमारे सब वक्त पे इतना पैसा लेना बनता है.
So if you gave orders of 1 lakh of crores, I gave 30,000 crores.
Correct. So I'm still better than you. You know what I'm
Absolutely.
saying? I didn't give that. I didn't take the liberties you took, I guess. So ultimately, the point we are trying to make is crony capitalism is for real, is for here to stay. We have to accept it. It's going to happen. How much ever we shout, it is going to happen. The only thing we got to be careful about and we got to try is to ensure that crony capitalism doesn't cross the line by crossing by actually going against the laws of the land. That's when crony capitalism gets really dangerous. That's when crony capital harms every common individual in a country. With that, namaskar. For more such episodes, please subscribe to HW News and press the bell icon for instant notification. Also, do give this video a like and share the video to spread the word around.